Hello everybody, it's Level 4 for the weekly update. It's been a hell of a week. You ever wake up in the morning and say to yourself, the word of the day today is going to be insurrection? Hopefully not. That was the word of the day for a few days this week. I'm not equipped to talk about it, but oh my god. A lot of horrible people did horrible things in the U.S. Capitol. Protests turned into riots, turned into domestic terrorism. It's just, I don't know. Sometimes you stop and you say to yourself, well, I didn't think that would happen, or I didn't think they would go that far. But yeah. I don't want to turn this into a political discussion currently, because I don't like political discussions, but it's not politics to say that you shouldn't attack the Capitol building of the United States of America in Washington, D.C. during a routine part of a process of certifying an election that has already happened and ended. What I'm saying isn't new. I'm not adding anything to the discussion here. But I'm still in shock that everything. And I'm laughing not because I find it funny, but because I'm just dumbfounded. I was watching on C-SPAN, because C-SPAN is really nice because it doesn't really like putting commentary. It just likes showing you the footage of whatever's going on. I just wanted to watch the proceedings of the thing, and then they get to Arizona, and they make a senator and a House person, a congressman, make a whatever the word is, protest against the results there. So both houses have to, the Senate and the House have to go to their own chambers and debate it, which is apparently like something that only happened like 4 times in the last like 120 years, that people during the certification made any sort of protest against the certification from the states, after everything. So like, it's just supposed to be something the vice president says. Here's a certificate from this state, signed, sealed, delivered. Does this look authentic? And then someone certifies that it's authentic, and then they go to the next state and so on and so forth, and say who gets what. But so then they got to Arizona, and then so I was watching the Senate, people yelling at each other in the Senate, and all of a sudden like the feeds cut, like they're just like, we're stopping. I'm like, what? And it cuts to outside where people are going nuts, breaking windows and going in and looting the place and going into people's offices and taking stuff, which now that's like a whole cybersecurity nightmare, because taking things from Congress people's office, is great and all, but it's not great. But what if people weren't just taking things? What if they were leaving things? You know, joining in the crowd and leaving things in the offices. So now everything has to be scrubbed down, and yeah, and you know, it took a few hours to get order. You know, the National Guard wasn't called in for a while, and I'm saying things that again, it's all been gone over, but like, just going through it, just watching it with absolute incredulity that it was every step. This isn't something that happened spontaneously. This is something that happened as a whole load of steps where actions weren't stopped. You know, not just starting on that day, but going back. You know, there was a cascade of events leading up to that, and watching with incredulity that is actually how low we had sunk. And eventually, you know, the senators, everyone was safe. You know, all the Congress was safe. They reconvened, and they immediately got right back to certifying Joe Biden and Kamala Harris as the president and vice president. A couple more of the objections were withdrawn because the senators grew spines. And there was still Pennsylvania that people were yelling at each other over. I like for the Pennsylvania one, when they went to the Senate, you know, Mike Pence said to the Senate leaders, like, okay, so is anybody going to you know, give arguments for disputing this? And both of them were just like, no, let's just vote on it. And the votes were overwhelmingly that it's fine. So it was just people trying to grandstand and gain political clout for the next election, essentially, which, not the right time. Anyway, I'm sorry. I said I wasn't going to get into it, and we're 7 minutes into the video. The point being, I don't have a message for this. The point being is you need to, I mean, you know, people have been yelling for a while, you know, that the lesson we get out of this, a lesson that we get out of this, that we can apply to ourselves on a we can't apply it politically, but a non-political basis, something that we could just internalize, you know, because it's important to at least try to learn a personal lesson from events that happen, because otherwise you start saying, this is not my world. So the personal lesson we can learn is that the impact of words and the impact of repeated words, you know, whether it's something that you tell yourself or whether it's something you tell other people, you know, the words you say really do matter. You know, the stupid adage, sticks and stones can break my bones, but words can never hurt me, is one of the stupidest things I have ever heard in my life. Words hurt because they turn into sticks and stones. You know, getting past things like depression, anxiety, mental issues, and things like that, words turn into sticks and stones. There's a price to ignoring the words, but also, like, the things that you tell yourself, you know, I'm not good enough, or I don't look great, or, you know, I'm an idiot, or, you know, I don't know, I can't do this, or things like that. You know, the lies that you tell yourself over and over, you know, whether you're, you know, personally insecure, which we all are, or you truly believe it, which some of us do. You know, the lies that you tell yourself, the more you say it, the more you start believing it, the more you internalize it, even if they are lies, and you can get past them sometimes. I'm going to change my yarmulke here because the bald spot on my head is bothering me. Insecurities. We were talking about that. The lies that we tell ourselves, that we internalize, they have a very, very great pull, and we have to try to stop ourselves from doing that. Again, I know that I'm taking a political situation and trying to twist it otherwise, and I understand that there are bigger implications to get from this, but it's also the lies that other people tell. That the more they tell it is this idea of the big lie. That countries and organizations and people use to get their way. It's if you tell a lie long enough, people will start believing it. It works. It works in a lot of ways, unfortunately. We have to make sure that we're not the people telling the lies, and we have to make sure that we're not the people lying to ourselves, and we have to make sure that when people are telling the lies that we rightly call them out on it, because otherwise that lie becomes a reality. And it might not take a day, it might not take a week, it might not take a month, it might take years, but that lie becomes a reality, and it's dangerous. It's dangerous on a internal level, it's dangerous on an external level, it's dangerous on a worldwide level. But we have to make sure that what we are personally saying or we're personally doing is not perpetuating a lie, even if it's a white lie, a self-serving lie, something that you think is innocuous. A lie is a lie. Once is this stupid children's book. It wasn't stupid. It was a children's book called The Little White Lie. As a kid told a little white lie, and it became this little creature. And the more he lied, the bigger it got, until it was this huge monster, and he couldn't control it anymore. And that's kind of how it goes. But yeah, so I'm not trying to. I mean, I am preaching. I'm not gonna preach and say I'm not trying to preach. I say these things to myself, and I hope that other people can draw their own lessons out of it. I'm preaching to myself, but lies that we tell ourselves or that we tell other people, things we overlook for personal, political, whatever gain, are eventually going to come back and bite us. Sometimes they bite you hard, sometimes they bite you softly, sometimes it takes a very long time for it to come back to you, but it always comes back. And, we just have to cut them off at the pass and just stop these things before they start. Stop the lies, stop our lies, other people's lies, whatever it is. But yeah, there's my soapbox for the day, I guess. But yeah, it's just tonal whiplash, I guess. Let's go through the rest of the week. So yeah, this is, personally, recovery is going better. I'm more mobile. I actually had a follow-up appointment with my doctor on Thursday, where I got the staples taken out of my back. The external staples, they essentially staple it closed so that the incision heals properly. So the incision healed perfectly. So the staples are taken out. Things are a little more comfortable. I have some more mobility. I went to see my oncologist. They had to take a biopsy of one of my vertebra during the surgery, because it had, during my last PET scan, which was a couple of weeks prior, one of the vertebra had a very large amount of uptake of the dye and they weren't sure if it was because the area was just really inflamed because of what was going on there from the screws. So, more inflamed means that there's more activity, or that, something was brewing inside the vertebra that we couldn't see. So I'm very happy to say that the biopsy came back negative. It was indeed just inflammation, and they didn't find any evidence of tumor or anything like that inside there. So we're not starting this all over again, and I am extremely, extremely relieved. I'm extremely relieved at that. So it's back to healing. I was able to draw a little this week, which is really nice because I haven't drawn since mid-December, and even that was really, really hard. The Mario Sunshine and Oxenfree re-uploads are done on my channel, so if you want to check that out, feel free. Person on Twitter, Discord, in the communities around here, Krizeros, was doing a Danganronpa talent swap art stream of drawing stuff. So Camille, one of John's mods, had suggested Nagito, but as like the ultimate trainer, like Nekomaru's thing. So I donated a little to bump that up, and so he drew it, and it's amazing. I retweeted if you want to check it out on Twitter, or his thing is @FutureXHope. But yeah, so now we got buff Nagito. Let's see. Skyrim is going to be 10 years old this year, which is wonderful. Makes you feel really, really, really great. So the first thing I draw was just, there's this Twitter trend going around. This year is the year of the ox, and it's going to be the year of the ox on the Chinese zodiac. So people have been drawing pictures of people in Year of the Ox style. We'll leave it at that. You know how the internet is. So I decided to get on with it with one of Proton John's an alt John type of thing. Second. So, I did exactly what everyone else is doing. Come on. Here we go. And, I drew John as a cow, for the year of the ox. That's what it meant. That's 100% what other people on Twitter.com are doing. I also drew another thing for the Disc Only podcast, but you can find that on Twitter. But yeah, so it was very nice to draw. HDQ is this week, and they raised over $2 million, which is awesome. It was closer to 2.5 million, I think. I went to sleep before they ended, so I didn't see what the final thing was. I voiced Red 13 in the finale of Charlie Quap the Platinum. What's your name on Quap Platinum? CWAP Platinum on YouTube, or Quap Tweeter on Twitter. So I voiced Red 13 at the finale of his Final Fantasy VII Let's Play. So thank you, Charlie. I really appreciate the opportunity. So if you want to check that out, I retweeted it. Let's see. Yes, the Disc Only was great. It's always great. Disc Only podcast, it's just once a month. It's the first Tuesday of every month. It really gives me life. I love watching it. I love the interactions between the 4 of them / 5 of them, when Dan chimes in. Just seeing everybody have fun together and doing memes and art and stuff. It's just a good time. It's very energizing to watch. Excuse me. Yeah, there's some really good runs in GDQ. But yeah, so then Wednesday was the thing. We talked about that already. I'm not going to apologize for talking about it. Usually I say I'm sorry for. I probably did apologize, but I'm taking the apology back. I'm not sorry for talking about it, because my God. And like, you know, on a personal selfish level, you know, MagFest is always either the first week of January or the second week of January. So it would have been either last week or this weekend, right? It's usually the weekends that precedes AGDQ. So it would have been last weekend. But even like that, like the weekend's bookending this past Wednesday's events in Washington, D.C., the thought of being anywhere near National Harbor during that time, you know, it's, you know, if MagFest had been this weekend, then that Wednesday would be the day that people are going in for like day -1. You know, the people are flying in. So, and yeah, the only other thing really to talk about, I guess, is the I guess back on the sadder note, the rabbi of the community I grew up in, West Hempstead, New York. The rabbi's name was Rabbi Yehuda Kellemer. Passed away on Thursday. He had a whole load of things. He wasn't particularly old. He was in his 70s, I believe. But he had gotten hit by a car a few years ago that shattered his hip, and he had gotten better, but then he started getting sick here, and then fell and possibly had a stroke or something from it. Was in the hospital and didn't make it. But I actually need to finish the video because they're doing Zoom funeral service in about 10 minutes. But just to give a little mini eulogy, I guess. Rabbi Kellemer, you know, I grew up there. I lived in West Hempstead until I was 15. Yeah, we moved in 2006, so 15. And he was the community's rabbi. You know, he was essentially the one that led all of the different, like, led the main synagogue that we went to, the main shul that we went to. You know, he worked as law professor, counselor, marriage counselor, you know, spiritual counselor, you know, guidance, helping, you know, the kids in the community, you know, learn what to do or how to do things. Like he did everything. Like, you know, you called him and he would answer the phone no matter what time of day or night it was. You know, he was the, like, paragon of kindness and empathy. You know, instead of saying, well, you know, the Jewish law says this and there's no way, you know, get around it, you know, tough luck, buddy. You know, if people run into complications due to health or whatever's going on, you know, he would take time to get to know. He knew everyone in the community. It was not a small community. It was a large community, but he knew everyone in the community on a personal level, to the point where he could say, like, okay, so, you know, here's where you are, and here's how you'll be able to, you know, do the correct things within Jewish law or life or whatever, you know, and still hold true to the traditions and everything without, you know, bending past the point of completely destroying, you know, what practice was. You know, he knew how to blend the the spiritual and human side of things perfectly. And he was always the person that we knew that we could talk to, when we had any sort of problem for anything, really. He was, again, one of the kindest, most human people I had ever met. When I was when I was a young child, like 9 or 10 or something, if I wanted to ask him something, he gave me the time of day. He was again the leader of a community of hundreds of people, and they all had their own problems. But like if I wanted to ask him something, he would just be like, "Yeah, please, Dovey. What do you want?" And gave me time and listened, and didn't like, oh yeah, get me out of this conversation. He listened to everybody, and his passing is just, it's a huge loss, and not one that I know that you guys are gonna feel, but it's a huge loss on the world, not just as a Jewish leader, but as somebody who embodied the values of moral, ethical, spiritual fusion, where you're able to walk that line and find the right path that a person can go down, where they don't get, where they're able to do what they need to do with their lives without destroying themselves in the process. Because there's a lot of people that think very starkly in terms of black and white with a lot of things, with all of those values, and it's never black and white. There's always a gray, because everybody's different. Everybody has to deal with things in different ways. So he was the perfect person to help people with that. And I know that he's touched the lives of tens of thousands of people at this point. His nephew, who was our rabbi here after we moved, passed away last March due to COVID, who was also the exact same thing, like, able to be that human, find the human connection with everything. And both of them were just filled with love for everybody. And the world isn't going to be as bright of a place without him. But I'm hoping that the people whose lives he touched, and even the people who hasn't, he's touched my life. I've touched other people's lives, and I've learned from him. And I want to hope that I've taught other people that idea, maybe not spiritually, because I'm not converting anybody to Judaism, but morally, ethically, just trying to find that love for other people, that kindness, that empathy. He was very soft-spoken all the time. I'd never seen him frown. I've never seen him yell at anyone or anything. He's probably gotten angry at things because he also had a very deep sense of justice. But I'd never seen him be angry at a human. It was always, he and his family were always happy, smile, love, and it's what I grew up with. It's the ideal that I strove for as a child. Seeing a leader like this. So he was also very close to my family, and personally to my family, not just to the families of West Hempstead, but personally to my family, my uncle who still lives there, and our family. So we, every time, even after we moved, every time we went back there for any, like, a wedding or something for a friend, his face would light up like it's the best day of his life that he's seeing us again. So he will be missed, and may his memory be a blessing. And again, to wrap it back to the beginning, first of all, thank you very much for listening. But we need to we need to be good people. We need to embody these values of kindness and empathy, and not lies and hate. It's something that I need to still work on with myself, and I talk to myself at this. This is, we need to do better always. It's sometimes we slip, and that's okay to slip, but we need to do better always. And don't put impossibly high standards on yourself, because it's very hard to live up to your own standards sometimes. But once the idea I said, the idea of the big lie, there's, if you tell truth to yourself also, you'll start believing it too. If you keep reinforcing yourself, it works the same way. The bad side of it is that it works with lies, but the good side of it is that it works with truths too. That if you keep on infusing yourself or the people around you with the values that you think are important, it'll start sinking in, I think, to the people that want to listen. To the people will see these things as important. And here's hoping that in the future, we're able to do just that. We're able to see what's important with ourselves, with others, and to reinforce these values. And, go back to just, being more moral and ethical, I guess. Thank you for listening. Here's hoping that the rest of 2021 is better, because it got off to, it was okay before Wednesday, but I guess, but we have to make it better. It's up to us. We have to make it better, not to other people. And let's start by being better to ourselves and better to the people around us. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time. Goodbye, everybody. Bye-bye.